Hi guys, it's Amy, and today I'm going to be giving you my 5 top tips on acting. These tips kind of originated from my own experience, and I've done drama plays at my middle school, as well as I've participated in my recitals where I played characters. So I would say my acting experience is kind of diverse, but your acting experience may be totally and completely different from mine, and that's totally okay because we all have our own individual story to tell that is totally unique and different. So these are just some of the things that I think are important when acting and that I generally have learned from my experience. And yeah, I hope you guys liked it or learned something from it. So my first tip is getting into character. Really developing your character is one of the most important things to do while you're on stage or in a performance anyway. So when you're assigned a role, something that definitely helped me in my experience was researching a little bit about that character. Whether there was like a movie that that character was in, or even researching the play itself and seeing another person try to do that character. You can learn from other people, and I think that's where community comes in, where you feel as a family. And honestly, that's one of the things I love about acting, because I feel like I have so many friends and family because we all support one another. Anyways, what I was saying before is sometimes I like to do research on my character. So pretend you're playing an animal, which I am this year. I am a lion in The Lion King. I researched some of the videos from The Lion King, from the Broadway, that I got some inspiration from. I also researched just the lion itself, like the character. When you're on stage, you want to give the audience the perspective that you aren't human. You want to, or if you're playing a human part, then yes, human, but you want to give them the perspective that you aren't yourself. You want to definitely kind of convince them into seeing an actual character and not think, oh, I'm just watching a play. You kind of really want to grasp their attention. So I think getting to character is one of the ways that you can do that, and where you can kind of hold your audience captive. Another way that I was taught to develop my own character is through creating your own story. Even if your character is a minor role, or even if it's not even a named role at all, which I was this year, still create your own story, create a background story. If the script doesn't say like your favorite ice cream or your favorite color or where you came from, make that up. Make your own story, create your own character. And I think that's awesome about acting. You can, sure, you're given a character, but you can play around with it. So definitely feel free to kind of create a background story for your character. And the reason why this helps while acting is because if you kind of know your character's story, I think it's easier to be that character once you understand how that character is and how that character feels. And sometimes the script doesn't really tell you that. So I think getting into character through creating your own story is definitely one way that I have persevered in my acting repertoire. I don't know how to say that word. Repertoire. Okay, well, you know what I mean. Now, I think what's really important to know about acting, this could arguably be one of the most important thing, is all parts are important. If someone out there is acting for themselves and just wants the biggest role, then they're not doing it for the real reason, because every part in the play is important and is vital to how the play comes out. And without that character, without you in whatever you're doing on stage, it's not as good as it could be, or it's not as good as it could possibly be. Anyways, my point of saying this is, when getting into character, know that small parts are still worth it. For example, in one of my summer camps that I went to, one of my friends was a mailman, and she had one sentence, and it was, "I am a mailman." It was just that one sentence, and she ended up saying it like really funny, and she was like, "I am a mailman," and the audience was laughing and everything. After she had said that line, everyone knew her part. So it's not really how many lines you have or how big of a character you are, or if you have a named part. What's really important is how you play your character and how you get into character. See, I connected it back. Okay, anyways. So yeah, that's why I think getting into character is one of the most important things to do while acting. Alright, so my next tip, number 2, is memorizing lines. Memorizing lines can definitely be a challenge, especially if you are by yourself and you don't really have anyone to practice with. I know that's the case with me because I don't really have any siblings to practice with, and my mom's always busy, so it's kind of hard for me to practice my lines, but I found a way that I think is pretty efficient and that I think is definitely helpful when learning your lines. So what I use is the Voice Memo app. This app can be found on any iPhone or a smartphone, I think. Yeah, I'm not really sure about, yeah, I'm pretty sure that you can get it in the App Store too if your phone doesn't automatically come with the Voice Memo app. To do this, you basically record your voice and you read the lines in the script. So pretend this is my script. So you read your lines in the script, right? Or you read the lines in that scene. And when it comes to your line, you skip it, but you think about yourself saying it in your head. And then you just read the other lines and then skip your own lines. And when you're done, you finish recording. And then you listen to the recording. And what you do is, whenever it comes to your line, you just say it out loud. So it's kind of like you're memorizing it. It kind of just makes, like, it kind of serves as if there was another person there, because someone else, well, technically you, are reading the lines for you, and then you get to say your own lines. So the Voice Memo app is definitely helpful for me because I'm usually alone practicing my lines, and it just feels a little less intimidating when you're by yourself. So yeah, I just play the recordings and I label them by the scene so I know like what each recording is for. And I just play it, and then whenever it comes to my line in the recording, I just say it out loud and try to remember what I have to say. So it's just basically another way to memorize lines. I know people use others, and sometimes people write them down, but I just thought this was really easy. And it was really easy for me to memorize my lines this year. So my third tip is backup plans. What I mean by backup plans is making sure that you have, well, a backup plan. For example, if you're absent on one of the rehearsals, make sure that you have someone that you can confide in and that can catch you up on things. And like I said earlier, the best part about doing or being on stage is that you are a community with everyone else, and being the person to help another or asking for help is one of the ways that your community becomes stronger. So I think having someone to confide in when you're absent or to catch you up on what you missed is definitely important when learning. Another thing with backup plans that definitely helped me was a roadmap. And what I mean by roadmap is my director at my school prints out these roadmaps. He's so nice. He doesn't even have to, he goes through all that extra effort to do that, but you can make one on your own too. And what a roadmap is, it basically lists all the scenes in the play. And what you do is, on the sheet, you write under which scene you enter and which scene you exit, and like what side of the stage you enter through and which side of the stage you exit through. You also write down your costume changes and what scenes you have to change fastly, or what you have to change into and what you have to wear. It's basically your map. Basically the name of it. It's basically your roadmap, and it basically tells you everything you have to do backstage. What's really great about a roadmap is it just really helps you mentally be prepared. I'm not saying that you should always have like a sheet of paper in front of you telling you where to go, but it mentally prepares you for what's coming. Yeah, it just helps you be prepared, and it just helps you have it just serves as what it is. It's a backup plan. Alright, tip number 3 has to do with choreography and blocking. Along with memorizing your lines, it can be like one of the hardest things to do is memorize what you actually have to do on stage, because you can memorize your lines, but if you forget like where you're supposed to go, it can confuse you. I've been in that situation where people haven't gone on stage and I had to improvise, which is okay and is definitely helpful, but knowing your blocking is definitely something that impacts the show and the performance quality. So with memorizing choreography, I think the easiest thing to do is videotape it. Writing choreography can be hard, especially if you're not like someone who's used to it. Like, I know as a dancer, I've written down choreography before, so I know how to do it. But other people, they have a struggle doing it because they don't know the terminology, I guess you could say, or what to say, and then it's pretty general, so when they read it, they're like, wait, what does this even mean? So I think videotaping definitely helps it opposed to like writing it down, especially if you're not used to writing it down or know how to call the steps or blocking. Also, some ways to help remember choreography and blocking is practicing. At rehearsal, we practice our dances all the time, like especially when you're not called on stage, you can like be rehearsing in another room, which definitely helps. Go over the video or even go through it in your head. Even if you're in bed, you can, if you think about the dance and the moves, that actually helps. That actually does help. Even though you're not physically doing it, if you're thinking about it, that will help you be more prepared when it comes to doing it. So, yeah, it doesn't just have to be practicing it over and over and over again. It could also be mentally. So I think that's pretty cool. Tip number 5, and I personally think this is one of my favorite things that I've learned through acting, and that is to dedicate your performance. Before you go on stage, after you've memorized your lines, know your blocking, you have gotten into your character, basically everything you could to prepare. Dedication is one of the most, well, I said this for every tip, one of the most important things, but honestly it's one of the most heartfelt things. And what I mean by dedication is dedicating your performance to somebody. So before you go on stage, what at school we do is we kind of take a moment of silence to just think about someone or something, like a pet or something like that, or someone who's died, or even someone that's still alive, or your friend or a family member, anyone that you love, and just dedicate your performance to them. The reason why this is important is because it kind of gives you an idea that you're not doing it for the applause. You're not doing it for yourself. You're not acting for yourself, not to get attention. You're doing it for others too. And caring about your audience is amazing. That's it. Caring about your audience ensures that your performance is going to be great. So I know that it can be nerve-wracking, but hopefully these 5 tips have inspired you in a way, or kind of taught you something new, maybe. But yeah, these are just the top 5 that I consider while acting. And actually, on the day that I'm posting this video, I'm going to be having one of my performances, so that's really exciting. I already mentioned earlier that it's The Lion King, but yeah, I'm super excited, and yeah, I decided to kind of theme this video after my performance, since that's basically what's going on in my life right now. But yeah, again, I hope you guys liked this video, and if you did, give it a thumbs up. Also, if you have any of your own tips, or if you have any suggestions or questions, feel free to comment them down below, and I'll try to answer them as best as I can. Also, like always, I will link Cassidy's most recent video from this week down below in the bio, and I'll give you some more information on what she did this week and why it was so amazing, and I'll see you later. Bye, guys. Why are you so loud? Oh, now you're gonna start. Are you kidding me? Okay.
Okay.